Hi, and welcome to Denver Online High School's virtual information session. My name is Casey Sendek, and I'm the Marketing and Communication Specialist for Denver Online High School. So I'm going to go ahead and start out by sharing my screen. And then we'll just go ahead and kind of run through all the things that make Denver Online High School unique and awesome. So just starting out with some general information about this school. We are part of the Denver Public School District. We are a free public high school. We're just like any other high school, except that we're an online and blended learning school. We're currently rated as a green school, so that means that we're meeting expectations, which is really good, especially for an online, partially online school. But we are exceeding expectations in student achievement, meeting them in family and student engagement, and also meeting in academic growth. We are both an online and blended learning school, so we have courses both online, but we also have opportunities for students to earn credit at our school building in in-person workshops and some other opportunities like that. All of our courses are recognized by both in-state and out-of-state colleges and universities. All of our courses are taught by real teachers, so some families ask, are there actually real teachers behind these courses? If my student runs into a problem, is there actually going to be a teacher there to help them? And the answer is absolutely. Students can always also come into our school building and get face-to-face help that way, but they can also Zoom their teachers, which this is what Zoom is a video conferencing system, and that's actually what this is being recorded on right now. But Zoom, and we'll talk about it later, but allows students to meet with the teacher basically face-to-face, only virtually. So student can see the teacher can see the student, they can share screens, the computer will turn into a virtual whiteboard. So there's ways to communicate that way. A student can also always call their teacher, text their teacher, email their teacher, message their teacher in Schoology, lots of different ways to connect with that teacher. But yes, there are real teachers available teaching those courses, and they are always modifying content to meet student needs as well. All of our credits are accepted by the NCAA, which is super important for any of our athletes. The main student requirements for attending Denver Online High School is that a student just needs to maintain Colorado residency. Now, we have students all over the globe right now. We have students playing soccer in Germany and dancing and all over the place, but a student just needs to maintain Colorado residency, and as long as they can do that, they are good to go. And they cannot yet be 21 years of age at the start of the school year. And we do ask that all of our students have their own computer and internet at their house, just because it does make it a lot easier for students. However, if a student does not have access to that, they can always come into our learning lab and use our computers at the school. So there are online and blended learning options with our school. We started out as just a completely online school, but we've morphed into a blended learning school because there's a lot of benefits to it. But all of our online courses are available 24/7. So a student can work at any time of day. If they work best at 2 a.m., cool, have at it. If they need time to work over the weekends, awesome, they can do that as well. They can also work through different breaks, so spring break or winter break. If they needed a chance to get caught up or if they wanted to work ahead, they can do that as well. The classes, some of them will use video conferencing, so live class session times where students can interact with the teacher and each other. And they also use Zoom, of course, for tutoring as well. And they also use discussion boards, online modules, and we'll take a look at kind of a snapshot of Schoology, which is our learning management system, a little bit later in this. Students are able to work at their own pace. So that means that if a student is super great in, let's say, English, they can just breeze through English and get it done super quickly. But maybe math is more of a struggle, so they can take more time in getting through that math course. So that is super nice. Attendance for us looks a little bit different than it would in a traditional high school. So attendance for us is a student's ability to complete a week's worth of work each week. So within each of the courses, there are weekly folders for the student to go through. And as long as they're completing that weekly folder in that course, they're going to be getting full attendance points for that week. And also within those weekly folders, all of the assignments, all of the quizzes, projects, anything else, they all have attached due dates to them. Now, a student can turn in assignments after that due date, pretty much without penalty. It may impact their attendance points for that week if they're not completing a week's worth of work that week, but all of the deadlines associated with all of the coursework are simply to help keep students on track and help with their time management. So a lot of times teachers will actually give students extra credit for turning assignments in on or before the due date, which is pretty cool. For our blended learning options, we have in-person workshops, classes, and specialty opportunities. So just a few of them. This is definitely not all of them, but just to give you some highlights, we have the Denver Online High School Student Art Show at the Denver Art Society. And so if students wanted to submit their art to that art show, they would get credit for that. And it's also just fun to have it at a gallery. We also we have things called connection days. So every Tuesday, our 9th, 10th, and 11th graders come into the building and meet for connection days. And so on those days, we have a lot of outside organizations come in and lead different workshops as well for credit. So we have like a create your own business entrepreneurial workshop, Art from Ashes, which is a poetry workshop, Lighthouse Writers Workshop, which is creative writing, and Drawing on Air, which is an art and poetry workshop. So a lot of different ways to earn credit, not just through online classes alone, but there are a lot of other ways as well. So going into college credit, this is something that if families don't hear anything else, I really hope that they hear this. And it is because our concurrent enrollment program is amazing. What concurrent enrollment is it allows students to go and take college courses at whatever community college they'd like, or they can also take online college classes through CSU Global. But whatever courses they take at the college level, we pay their tuition to take those courses. But then also, in addition to that, students are earning college credit, but they're also earning double high school credit for every single course that they take. So it is an amazing deal because they're getting a ton of college out of the way. They're also earning high school credit at the same time for taking those courses, and we're paying their tuition to get them through all those college classes. So it is a win-win-win on all sides of that equation. But also with that, if a student is able to earn 12 college credits by the end of their senior year through our concurrent enrollment program, they're also eligible to participate in a program called Ascent. And what Ascent is it allows students to actually go a whole year completely tuition free the year directly after they graduate high school. And so they can continue those college classes completely tuition free for a full extra year at a community college. Now let's say that they wanted to go to a 4-year state university. They can do that in Colorado, as long as, or how that works is the family would pay basically the community college rates. We would pay the community college rate, and then the family would pay the difference. And so students are still able to use this Ascent program, even if they were going to a 4-year university as well. Also with this, which is pretty cool, a lot of our students take advantage of this, but we will have a couple different students this year that will graduate high school at the same time they graduate with their associate's degree in college. But another exciting thing that happened last year was actually we had the very first student in DPS, but probably in Colorado in general, but he actually graduated with his 4-year bachelor's degree at the same time he graduated high school. And that's just because he was able to take full advantage of the concurrent enrollment program and just basically take all of his courses through the college. So one of the newest programs that we have that we've really has added so much to our program is called Career Connect. And what that is basically it allows students to pick a pathway, a career pathway, and then they will take career technical education courses specific to that pathway. And then also their they get to do job shadows and different field trips, and then eventually they'll get to do internships and apprenticeship programs. And some of them will get certified in different areas. It's just a super great way for students to get their started in the career pathway that they are interested in, and also get a foot in the door potentially with future business that they want to work for. And so on this slide, you can see all of the ones down below. Those are all the different pathways. So Creative Connect, Tech Connect, Business Connect, Ed Connect, and so forth. And so a student can kind of choose whatever pathway they are most interested in, and then the program goes from there. For our school specifically, for Denver Online High School, we have two pathways where our teachers actually teach the career and technical education courses, and that is Creative Connect and Tech Connect. Now, if a student wanted to choose a different pathway, it's no problem, they totally can. They would just take their CTE course through a different school. So more than likely, they would take it through the Career Education Center. But yeah, as you can see, this kind of lays out the different skills that the two pathways the students would achieve, the course sequence, what types of certifications they can earn, and also you can see on there, college credit is available for both of those pathways as well. It works the same as concurrent enrollment. The tuition is paid for, and eventually it would end in internships or apprenticeships if the student chose to continue out that program. So it's an awesome program, and we highly encourage as many students as we can to get involved with Career Connect. Outside of that, we have some other credit earning opportunities. So if a student is working and they are getting paid, they can get credit for that. If they are serving somewhere and not getting paid, they can also get credit for that. Independent study would be basically anything outside of the courses that are available. So if a student is really interested in something, we don't necessarily have a course for it, we can kind of build an independent study course around that. So this is our Learning Center. We are located at Smedley Learning Center, and it is available pretty much 5 days a week for students to come and work and meet with their teachers or connect with other faculty. We also have a satellite site at Thomas Jefferson High School where we have our student advisor and counselor there 2 days a week. So if that's a closer spot for you guys, then you can always stop in and connect with the counselors in that way. I'd like to just show this because this is basically our faculty at a glance. We don't have a huge faculty, but I always tell families that we have a faculty that really cares a lot about students, and I know I'm biased, but I think that we have one of the best faculties ever. And so I hope that you feel the same way if you do end up coming to Denver Online, and allow us to kind of show you why we think we're so cool. Then into the enrollment process, we have a couple different types of enrollment, but primarily most students will always be full-time students. And what full-time means is that Denver Online High School would simply be the student's primary high school that they're attending. And for that, tuition is completely free. And also students are then eligible for that concurrent enrollment college credit for tuition free as well. And so, so students under full-time enrollment, they can still attend college courses. They can also take different supplemental courses at different high schools, but Denver Online would just be the student's primary high school they're attending. But for part-time and supplemental, part-time would be basically a student would maybe come to Denver Online for about half of their course load, and then also attend another high school as well for the other half of their course load. Supplemental would usually mean if a student is just taking maybe one class with Denver Online High School, maybe like a math class or something to get caught up or to get ahead. But for each of those options, it's just $200 a course for the student. And with part-time and supplemental, they are not eligible for the tuition-free college credit options, and they're also not eligible for our summer school program. So if that is something that you guys are interested in, we just highly encourage most families to do full-time enrollment. So summer school, we do have summer school, but like I said, it is only available for current full-time students, but for that, the tuition is completely free. All right, for our enrollment times. So right now we're gearing up for first semester of the 2019-2020 school year with our new student orientation beginning August 19th. Now this is the time that for first semester when we bring in the most students, but with that, I always tell families too that it is on a first come, first served basis. And so if you are interested in coming to Denver online and you think that this might be the right fit, I do encourage you to apply sooner than later, because once those spots are filled, they are filled and then everyone else goes on to a wait list. So the sooner that you guys can apply and get the enrollment process started, the better. Now, we do enroll some students for second semester with new student orientation beginning January 8th. However, it is a very small amount of students. So it is only the students that basically we're backfilling that the number of spots where students transition to a new high school throughout first semester. So it's usually not very many students. So if you want to come to Denver Online High School, I just highly encourage you to go for first semester and apply as soon as possible. Summer school begins in June for all of our Denver Online High School full-time students. And yeah. All right, and then to apply, we'll go here. So this is just a snapshot of our website homepage. So you just go to online.dpsk12.org, and that brings you to our website. And then you just click that beautiful yellow apply button on the left-hand side. That will bring you to a thing called the student interest application. And the student interest application is just a quick survey about general information about the student. From there, we will welcome you to come to one of our either drop-in enrollment days or just enrollment meeting times with one of our administrators. And so when you guys come into the building to meet with one of our administrators, you'll bring some of the required paperwork, so birth certificate, proof of residency, immunization record, and transcripts. But that's a good time for you to meet with one of our administrators to just talk about the school, learn more about the program, and that's a good time for them to really get to know the student and the family as well. And once that happens, then we ask all students to complete a test drive course, and that's through Schoology, our learning management system, where all of the courses are located. The test drive is not intended to be hard at all. It's intended to take a student, originally it was a 2-week test drive, but we kind of just extended the time to make it just easier for students to kind of get through it. But it's not intended to be hard at all. It's actually just intended to gather some baseline data about the student, just where their strengths are and some of maybe their challenges, so we can provide supports moving forward. But also it gives us an opportunity to make sure that the student is able to communicate with us and follow through, because those are two really important things on our end that we need students to be able to showcase. But then also it allows the students to get a chance to look at online courses and see if it's actually going to be a good fit or if they hate it. So it's just a good chance all around for both of us to kind of make sure that this will be a good fit moving forward. From there, once they complete the test drive course, they will be welcomed to New Student Orientation. New Student Orientation is a 3-day orientation where students will come into the school building and they get to meet all of their teachers. They get to obviously meet each other and their peers. But that's a great time for students to just get off to a really good start. We know that this school is a different environment for most students and something that they've never really done before. And so we want to make sure that they are good to go with navigating the online program, that they know who to reach out to if they run into any problems, making sure that they have all of the right apps and things downloaded on their computer, but also It's a time for them to learn about all of the opportunities at Denver Online as well. So anything with concurrent enrollment, or the clubs to get involved with, or Ballarat Outdoor Education Center that they can be a leader with, and just all of those different opportunities they learn about during new student orientation as well. There also is a new parent orientation. So that's a one-night thing. And with that, we teach all of our parents how to learn, or how to navigate their own parent Schoology account, because every parent or guardian that comes to Denver Online will get their own parent account in Schoology, where they can track their students and see exactly when students are turning in assignments, what they turned in, what they got on that assignment, and so forth. And so we want to make sure that you guys know how to navigate that, and also just learn about all of the other resources that Denver Online provides as well. To apply as a part-time or supplemental student, you'd do the same thing with filling out that student interest application online. But from there, our counselors will need to connect with each other, because they will be having to work together to create the student schedule, since the student isn't necessarily a full-time student at either of the schools. So with that, you just need to have your current school counselor connect with our counselor, Casey Burton, and send him all of that information in the bulleted information. So student name, DPS ID, phone number, and so forth. All right, then how online education and blended learning works. For our school, we use 3 main tools. And so Schoology is our learning management system, where all of our courses are located. Zoom is the video conferencing system that we utilize for tutoring sessions, and also different meetings, school meetings, and then our learning center. So this is a snapshot of Schoology. So on the left there is, that is the home screen for Schoology. And to me, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Facebook, because you have your general feed, which is all of the announcements. So any school events that are happening, upcoming, or just reminders, general reminders, are going to be located there. But then also off of there, you can see on the right, there's a calendar view, I guess, of all of the different assignments or events coming up, and when the dates are for each of those assignments, when the due dates are, and events, and that kind of thing. You can see that all off to the right. But also off to the left, you can kind of click into grades or messages or resources, lots of different areas up there. On the top, kind of towards the right, you can see a little mail icon, and that's where you can message teachers or just faculty in general directly through Schoology. So off to the right, that was just showing sometimes we do different polls and that kind of thing for our students. And so maybe we have different field trips and stuff every month. And so sometimes they get to vote on what they want to do. So it's kind of fun. It's interactive. You can comment on those announcements as well and participate in the polls. So it's kind of fun. All right, and then this is another snapshot of Schoology. So the top picture there is basically if you clicked into the courses tab on the top, it would bring you into something that looks similar to this, depending on what courses you were in. This student is in English 1 and Mrs. White's homeroom class. So and then off to the right there, you can kind of see what the grade is for that student. And then if you clicked in those courses, it'll be on the next slide, but you can see then, all the assignments in weekly folders for those as well. This picture on the bottom is of our school calendar. And so this is just another view of it, but all of the events literally for the entire year are all in there at the very beginning of the school year. So you can pretty easily plan life for the year. So you can see when graduation is, when different field trips are, when connection days are. You can pretty much see everything in there. in the calendar. But also with this, if, depending on what view you want to look at, but you can also see all of the assignments by the due dates as well. And again, students can always turn in assignments after the due dates. It's just more to help with their time management and to keep them on track. All right, so this is looking into Miss White's homeroom course. So basically every course will kind of be look like this originally. So every course starts out with a course introduction and resources folder. That is where all of the information will be located about the teacher, when their office hours are, their personalized Zoom link. So if you wanted to connect with them via Zoom, it will have that in there, and then any specialty resources for that specific class will be located in there as well. But then from there you can see the weekly folder. So it starts out with week 1 and then goes on to week 2. If you clicked in that folder, you would see all of the different assignments in there and when their due dates were, and that kind of thing. So this is like if you clicked into the assignments. So you can see on here, these are the different assignments that are due, but also this is in the grades portion. So this is actually just the grades look, but if you clicked on any of those assignments, you could, it would bring you to the assignment as well. But for this specific student, you can see when the assignment was due, but then off to the right, if you see a little puzzle piece icon, that means that the student has turned in an assignment. If you see for example, there's one that says 50 out of 100, you can tell that it has been graded. If it doesn't have anything there, a score, then that just means that the teacher has not yet graded it. But for that same one, you can see a little note icon to the right of that. And that is because the teacher has left that student a note. So meaning that sometimes you know, a student will turn in something and the teacher they need to write a little note. So let's say, for example, they turned in a writing assignment, the student did, but they didn't write incomplete sentences. Well, a teacher might leave them a note saying, hey, I'll go ahead and regrade this, but please write in complete sentences and turn it in again, or something like that. And so, yeah, so you always check for notes. But in a parent's Schoology account, you can see all of this information as well. And so you can actually see all of the assignments when they are due. If a student has turned in an assignment, it would have that puzzle piece or another little icon like that. You can see what they got on that assignment and if the teacher had left them any notes. So it is super transparent and really, you know, a student, they can't lie because it's all right there. And so, and also with that, you can actually click into that and actually see what the student turned in. So you can see the writing assignment that you turned in, or you can see the math quiz that they did. You can actually see their work in there and what they turned in. So it is really nice that way because it is just so transparent. Getting into Zoom, like I said, we do use Zoom for tutoring a lot. But Zoom is great because it can turn into a virtual whiteboard where the student can, you know, write out a math problem, or the teacher can. They can share screens, so a student can show the teacher what they're seeing on their end. So if, you know, they ran into any problems with uploading an assignment, for example, they can share their screen with their teacher and say, this is what I'm getting when I try to do it. And so it's really nice. We use it that way. We also use it for different meetings with our school. This is just a funny snapshot of one of our collaborative school committee meetings. So we use it quite a bit. Oh, also with Zoom, if you aren't familiar with it, every faculty member has their own Zoom link. So meaning that if I needed to reach Mr. Palomino, I would click Mr. Palomino's Zoom link. When I did that, it would send him a notification that there's a student waiting in their virtual classroom, and he would just pop in there and meet up with the student. And so it's super easy to use, and but every faculty member has their own virtual classroom or virtual link where they can meet with students that way. So if you ever wanted to find that information as well, if you just go to our website on the contact tab at the top right hand side. If you click that, then there will be a drop down, and you can just click the contact information for our faculty, and it has everyone's Zoom link in there, but it also has their scheduled office hours, email, phone number, all of that in there as well. All right, and then finally we use our Learning Center, which is Smedley, for the third part of our program. It is a really, really important part of our program. Like I said before, we started out as pretty much an only online program. And even though we have this amazing staff that, was trying really hard to connect with students, you're still missing something when you don't have that face-to-face interaction. And so we kind of morphed our school into a blended learning school, meaning that our students come in building more often than they would have before. And so we built in these things called connection days. And for those there, for 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, and those students meet every Tuesday from 9 to 2 at our school building. And it's just we just have a huge focus on supporting the whole child. So there are a ton of things that happen on those days, but first of all, they meet with their teachers so they can get that extra support that they need. They're also obviously connecting with their peers, and so it's nice because they actually do make friends, which is really important. But from there, the students kind of get to choose their schedule for the day, but different periods of the day will have different things happening in each of the classrooms. So for example, in the science classroom, they almost always have a lab going on. So if a student didn't necessarily want to complete the online virtual lab, they can actually do the physical lab on those connection days. So for example, just today they're doing a shark. They're going through sharks and stuff and doing a dissection with sharks. So it sounds kind of cool. But anyways, but also on those days there might be small group work. There's also, that's when we bring in those outside organizations to lead those extra workshops for credit as well. We also, on that top right hand corner, that's a picture of us at Children's Hospital Colorado. And we do a service learning program where students will actually divide up into teams during connection days, and then they will complete a mock grant application and a detailed budget and a logistics plan, and they will actually end up leading out their different service projects for Children's Hospital Colorado. And so those happen on connection days as well. Yeah, and then also on those days, students can connect with different social workers and get those supports that they need as well. We also have Grad Prep Fridays, so those are primarily for our seniors, but also for any students that are taking college classes. And so those are just 2 Fridays every month. Traditionally, they fall every other Friday, but they are from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and it's mostly focused on college and career readiness, and just making sure that we're still connecting with our seniors, even though they are usually pretty busy as 12th graders. We also just kind of created the academic support days this last year, and they've worked really well, but these were created with a focus on our freshmen. We realized that our freshmen were coming into our school and they just needed a little bit of extra support. Transitioning to a new school, and especially, an online blended learning school that is pretty unique, it's hard. And so it would be hard for anyone. And so we just want to make sure that our students are getting the support they needed. So we built in these academic support days where our freshmen are all asked to come at the beginning of the year. And those are on Thursdays from 9 to 2. It is not as structured as our connection days, but it still provides more structure than some of the other days of the week where students can just come and work on their own. And so students will start out doing those every Thursday, but from there, they can kind of earn their way out of not attending those days if they can kind of prove that they are, they can show us their time management skills and ability to follow through and communicate and all those good things. All right, and then exemptions are possible to any of these different types of connection days, but they are limited. So meaning we know the value, we have seen the value in how much these in-person days, what they add to a student's academic success, and not just academically, but their personal, their just personally as well. We've just seen how important they are to students. So we do ask for the most part that students come in to those days and participate. Now, however, there are students that are located, all over the globe or in Crane Junction or, lots of places where it would just not make sense for them to come in. So for those students, they would be exempted from those connection days. Or we do have a lot of athletes. We have a lot of dancers or hockey players or soccer players where they just have very conflicting schedules when it comes to practice and training and competitions and things like that. So for those students, we do work with those students in creating the best option for them. But all right, next up, traits of a successful online student. So our motto at Denver Online High School is to do more, meaning that we believe that the flexibility of online education actually allows our students to be able to do more than a traditional student might be able to do. So one of my favorite jobs that I get to do at Denver Online is I get to highlight our different students every month. And we just have some really special and unique students. So we have students that are dancing or playing soccer or traveling abroad or are overcoming these really large life challenges or health challenges. We have students that are interning or working or caring for their families. We just have a lot of really cool students, and our school just kind of uniquely fits into each of their lives. And so it's always so fun for me to just learn more about the students and be able to share it with others. And some families kind of wonder, if they're doing all of this extra stuff, are they actually doing school, or does this online education, are they actually, following through with that? How is that working? And we've noticed that the students are actually living that do more motto, that are actually taking advantage, of that online flexibility and really living out their passions and pursuing these extra things. They actually are doing extremely well. They actually have a 25% higher attendance rate, 8 credits ahead in school, and usually have about a 33% higher GPA as well. So this form really works well for students that are just super active in whatever their passion is. If you spend any time at Denver Online, you will hear us talk about the 6 pillars of success. And this is because we truly believe that this is what it takes for a student to be successful at Denver Online. So the first one is attendance. So attendance is unique at our school. Attendance for us is a student's ability to log into Schoology and turn in schoolwork. We don't care if it takes them a super long time or if they're really efficient about it. We just care that they're continually having progress in their courses and trying to turn in schoolwork. Attendance also means showing up to those connection days. They do get credit for attending connection days. So it's just important that they attend. Communication is huge for our school. Communication, for our school, we don't get the luxury of always seeing students right in front of us. We don't always get to see if they, how long they've been struggling through that math problem that they just don't understand, or, things like that. We don't always get that luxury to see them. And so communication is so important for our students because we want to know how we can best support that student. And if a student is struggling in any way, we want to make sure that we remedy that and we get them back and moving forward so they're feeling really good. And so we do have a 24-hour rule at Denver Online, meaning that if a student reaches out to one of us, we should be able to communicate back with them within 24 hours. Now, most of the time we beat that, we're a lot faster than 24 hours, but that's just our promise to our students and families that we will get back to you guys within 24 hours. But then also with that, we do ask the same in return. So if a teacher reaches out to a student or a family member, we do ask that, you guys are responding as well within that 24-hour time frame. It's just really important that we keep that circle of communication open. And that, we know that, we don't want any students to ghost on us and where we just don't hear from them because then we worry. Then the next one is compliance and follow through. So this is talking a little bit about testing. So for compliance, no one loves testing. That's just how it goes. But we do have to have, students come into the school building for testing, for both district and state testing. And so we do ask that you comply with that and do that when the time comes. And following through is just not only with that, but just if anything, if you say you're going to do something, that you actually do it and follow through with that. Next one up is academic skill. That's pretty much just talking about being committed to being a learner. We know that not every student is going to be stellar at every course. That's just how it goes. We all have our own strengths and weaknesses, but it's just being committed to learning and trying and just continuing to put forth effort in, learning new things. Next one up is self-advocacy, and this is, again, a really huge one for us. So we tell students, communicate with your teachers, because we have amazing teachers and faculty that want students to succeed. And so if a student falls behind or if they are struggling in any way, we so encourage our students to reach out to those teachers, because a lot of times the teachers will, either strike a deal with that student. Hey, like if you can, do really well on this assignment, I can go ahead and we can just, I won't have you do this assignment or something like that, there's a lot of different ways that the teachers are always interacting with the students and really personalizing their education for that specific student. And also, sometimes students just have very unique interests. And so, for example, in one of the English classes, for the final project, a student that was a ballet dancer, she asked her teacher if she could they were doing Romeo and Juliet. And so she asked if she could do something that was related to dance and actually choreograph her own dance instead of just doing a straight up essay. And so, the teacher worked with her and she got to do this beautiful dance. And so self-advocacy shows in a lot of different areas, but it's just being, an advocate for yourself. And if there's something that you really want to pursue or whatever that looks like for the student, please talk to the teachers, talk to the faculty, and we'll try to make something happen so everyone's happy. Then finally, resilience is also an equally big one for our students to learn. Online education is challenging. It's challenging for anyone that would ever do it. And so we really say it's not if a student will get behind, it's just when a student will get behind. Even our very best, most stellar students at some point will get behind in their courses. And so resiliency is just saying, it's okay. It's okay. And just, pick yourself back up and keep moving forward and work with your teachers and, just figure it out and just keep moving forward. I think that families sometimes get worried that, if a student gets behind or something, then maybe they won't even know, the parents or guardians won't even know, and that's not true. If a student gets behind, we're always trying to, like, I mean, within that week, if we see like a student hasn't logged in or is just, you know, getting behind, then teachers are super great at reaching out, not just to the student, but the parents as well, to just make sure that we're like bouncing back, like, hey, like, I see that you haven't logged in a while, like, what's going on? Oh, you don't have internet, like, at your house. Oh my gosh, okay, let's figure out something else. You know, do you need a bus pass to get to the school so you can work there? Just, you know, just navigating those just obstacles that life throws at you and stuff. But yeah, so resilience is just really instilling that we are never ever going to be mad if a student gets behind or, you know, is struggling through school. We're never going to be mad at that student. We just want to help that student succeed. So providing whatever support's necessary to make sure that they get back on track and that they are in a better place moving forward. Finally, why Denver Online High School? I just like to highlight this because I want families to know we have a really great staff, and it's not just me saying it, but we have a pretty awarded staff as well. So on the top left, that's Counselor Casey Burton. If you spent any time with him, he is always one of people's favorites. He's just a lot of fun and just hilarious, but he really connects with students and he is incredibly kind. And then in the top or at the bottom left there, we have Mr. Palomino, which is our math teacher, and our English teacher, Jessica Glenn, but they both won Teacher of the Year all three of these are from the Colorado Department of Education for online and blended learning schools. And so I brag on our math teacher because math is really hard and it's even harder in an online program. So it's really important that we had a really solid math teacher on board. But what's great about him is literally, I think he is always available for his students. I mean, we have had students on the complete opposite side of the globe who were needing math help in like weird hours of the day, and he made a point to meet with those students and go out of his way to make sure that they had the support necessary. And I don't know if I could say that. I think he's amazing with that. So, and then our English teacher, Miss Glenn, she got recognized specifically for really bringing in a sense of community to our school and really bringing in outside organizations to provide students with unique opportunities to share their writing in more real world ways. So she is a great one as well. The top right is our principal, Ian Jones. He got recognized by DPS for living our shared core value of collaboration. He is wonderful at providing so many different pathways and opportunities for students. So he works with a bunch of different organizations and is always just trying to figure out different ways for students to find the pathway that best suits them. And so he's a good one. He's a great principal, and he also knows pretty much all of our students by name. So it's pretty special. Down below on the right is our art teacher, Elisa Narajanaya, and she won the Innovation in Arts Mayor's Award. But it was pretty cool. They did a huge story on her, actually two different stories on her, but just about how she teaches art in an online medium. And so it's pretty unique, but our art students are awesome, and they get to have a lot of different opportunities, not just in the classroom, but outside of it as well. She connects them with like the Denver Art Society, where they have their gallery show, but a lot of different other art shows and competitions, and like the Larimer Chalk Festival, and just fun things like that, where students who love art, she is a great teacher for it. Our school is also just personal and fun. So I think sometimes people think of online education as super isolating, and we have just worked so hard to make sure that it isn't, because we want to know our students, we want them to feel known and part of a community. So it was really important for us to really bring in a lot of different things to make sure that they felt that way, and so did our parents. So we have a prom, just like any other school. Ours are just a little bit unique, but we actually just had ours this last week. It was at Denver Art Society, so it was in a cool venue, but we had 3 live bands. We had a big photo booth. We had a salsa class actually for students to participate in. So it was just a lot of fun, but we have, lots of fun events like that. But we also have a very personalized graduation. And one thing I love about our graduation is that every student that walks across that stage gets talked about. We make a bio for each student, and we talk about their achievements, where they're heading, what they're planning on doing, and just we really want to celebrate each student that walks that stage. And so it's a great graduation, and it's one of my favorite days of the whole year. We also have a student store, so if you wanted to get some Denver Online high school swag, you could do that. We have social media where we're always posting just pictures from different events, just fun pictures. That's where you can kind of see a little bit more of like a sneak peek into Denver Online. We also have monthly free field trips. So we have field trips to different places for academic credit, but we also have field trips that are just for fun. So we went, for example, we went to oh my gosh, I'm spacing the name of it, but like where you do like the bouncing, like all the trampolines and everything like that. We just went there at like Bounce City, but that's not it, but you know what I mean. We went to places like that. We went to an escape room, just fun things. But then we've also gone to like the Weather and Science Day for science credit at the baseball stadium, or we've gone to different museums and just different things like that, like the Capitol. So those are our monthly free field trips. And then also along with that, we also have a bunch of field trips that are always happening through our Career Connect program as well. So those are more industry-based, like specific to the different pathways. So students can also go on those, and those are totally free as well. We do have school clubs. So our clubs primarily meet on connection days, but we have lots of different clubs. But we have like a drama club that will put on a talent show, and they also put on like a play and sometimes a musical depending on the year. But that's a really fun club to be part of. We also have like a Student Action Association club. And that one's basically like a student leadership team that helps put on a lot of the fun events that we have throughout the year. We have a National Honor Society that they always do service projects together. And then we also have our back to school barbecue. And so our back to school barbecue is a really fun day, but we have we cook up burgers, and then families bring in potlucks. But then we also have a bunch of activities. Like we had a dunk tank that was a huge hit last year, but lots of other like bouncy things that students can get on and have fun on. And I also just threw in some of these pictures. So in the top right hand corner, you'll see a picture of a bunch of bags. That was we have a winter holiday party, but with that we have had a couple times a silent auction. And the silent auction is to raise money to go back to support our most in need families at Denver Online, so that we can purchase them needed items for just needed items, but basically right before winter break or Christmas. And so then we go deliver them to the families. And so that's just a really important thing for me to say, because I think so often families just wonder about online programs and how connected they would feel. And I think that just this one activity really shows that how committed we are to our families, and just making sure that they feel valued and feel seen. And All right, and then finally, extra support for academic success. We have one of our biggest events of the entire school year is called Planning for Success, and it is a college and career readiness event. What that day is about is we kick it off with a keynote speaker, motivational speaker, where they just kind of get the day, set the tone for the day, but also just try to get students psyched out for life and just pursuing their goals and really figuring out what it is that they want to do after they graduate high school. And sometimes also in high school, what kind of things can they do to prepare for life after high school? And so the keynote happens, and then from there we divide up into, we have 3 different rounds of breakout workshops. So every round of workshops, there's multiple different workshops that students and parents can choose from, but everything from workshops about college scholarships to military options to internships to entrepreneurial workshops, just, the gamut, because we know that not every student is the same, and not every student is necessarily, a 4-year degree college-bound student. That's not necessarily the pathway that would work best for them. And so we want to provide, opportunities for them to kind of learn whatever direction they think is best, really learn about it and actually set themselves up for success, so they don't have to just, go in the dark through navigating that. So we have 3 rounds of workshops, and then from there, we end the day with a big college fair where a bunch of different colleges come in, so you can actually connect with the people from the colleges there and learn more about them. But also we give out 2 different scholarships to students as well, and they can use that money in a variety of different ways. It doesn't necessarily have to be towards college. It could be just something more personalized to their whatever direction that they are going, whether that's becoming an entrepreneur, or if they're trying to go into an apprenticeship program, or whatever that looks like for them. We try to make sure that they can use that money specifically for their pathway. But yeah, just a great day all around. But yeah, outside of that, we have student orientations and parent orientations. And like I talked about previously, that's just to make sure that both students and parents are getting off to a really good foot at Denver Online, because we just know it's different. We know it's unique. We want to make sure that you feel equipped when you guys go home. So those are just really, really important parts of our program as well. And then also students are paired with an advisor, but they are also paired with a homeroom teacher as well. So they're both their homeroom teacher and their advisor are really their go-to people. If they ever run into any problems, or if they just want to pursue anything like concurrent enrollment or something like that, they can always talk with one of them. They can talk with any of our faculty, of course, but those are always like they're kind of like number ones people to go to. So that just adds another level to the school. So that is all I have. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing here. But thanks for joining me in this virtual information session. If you do have any other questions, please do not hesitate to reach out and ask. Like I talked about earlier, but in the contact tab on our website, you can see that will bring you to a list of all of our faculty members. My name is Casey Sintek if you wanted to reach out directly to me. But yeah, hopefully you learned a lot, and hopefully we will see you guys at Denver Online High School this next year. Thanks.